when I realized that losing your temper was a sign of weakness, as soon as I made that connection, I said to myself, this is weak. I'm going to try not to do it anymore. And what's weird is when you're a kid, I don't know if you remember this, but when I was a kid and you'd see someone get angry and it made you afraid. And so for a while, I saw it as like a power. You know, it's kind of a way to achieve power, that you can lose your temper and then all of a sudden you have this extra strength. And so when you're a little kid, and when I say a little kid, I mean, when I was 13, 14 years old, I thought, hey, if I could get that rage going and people are scared like I used to feel, that's a positive thing. And then, like I said, as I got older, now, now you're talking 16, 15, 16, 17, I realized, hey, this isn't cool. This isn't strength. It's actually weakness. And when I realized it was weakness, and I didn't realize that overnight, but I started getting the idea that that was weakness. And now when you see someone that is in control, and even when bad things are happening, they're standing stoically saying, okay, let me take another look at that and I'll get it done. You know what I mean? When they're just, okay, then you realize, okay, this guy is really unflappable, which is a lot more impressive. Yeah. So again, you got to be able to detach from this. And, I like to take pride in the fact that I'm going to keep my cool no matter what happens. And definitely once you're in the SEAL teams, you definitely want to be that guy that's keeping your cool no matter what's happening. Yeah. Whether it's people are doing the wrong thing or you just want to be the guy that's, hey, okay, come back over here. We need to redo this. You just want to be that guy. Yeah. That's way more impressive than the guy that says, I can't believe this. Don't be that person. So, and I've talked about this before. What are the pre-event indicators that show you or reveal to you that your temper is about to be lost? What are they? Is it you clench your fists, right? Is it you raise your voice and you start doing that stuff? Do you start the heavy breathing? Do you flare your nostrils, right? Because that's an animal thing where you're going to take in more oxygen, so you open up the nostrils because you're about to get after it. Do you, does your head, shaking or whatever? Just like these things. What is it? What indicators do you have when you know that you're starting to feel that? And as soon as you feel that, you detach. You go, oh, that's what that is. That's an indicator. And it's a weakness. Mm-hmm. And I don't like weakness. So I'm not going to allow it. And then, take a breath. I like to say, you know what? Here's a good one. You want to get through that moment. Nod your head slowly in the affirmative, right? So when someone's telling me something that's making me mad, I'll just slowly nod my head like, I understand. This is the way things are. I accept this. And this is, I'm calculating what my next move is going to be. And then, you see whatever, guys will count to 10. You tell your little kids that. Tell your little kids when they start losing their temper, you need to count to 10. Count to 10. Count to 100. Count to 1,000, whatever it is you got to do, and get control. Because, like I said, if you're losing control, it's not strength, it's weakness. When I realized
Hello.
Sorry about that. I just muted my mic. What's happening, everybody?
Welcome back
to the Thursday edition of the Battles Bros podcast.
The Battles Bros. Okay, so first off, let's just nip that in the bud right now. So first off, the reason we're having to do this show on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Let me back up even further and say welcome back if you visited the show before. If you're visiting for the first time, appreciate you stopping by. Know this. We don't normally do these shows on a Thursday night. We usually do them on a Friday. However, we had some obligations coming up tomorrow night on both our parts that kind of prevented it from being feasible to try to do this show on a Friday night unless it was be like super, super, super late. So we said, well, we'll just shoot for Thursday and say we'll try it out and go for it. So if we look really tired, we are. We don't normally do this, and usually we kind of psych ourselves up for doing a show on Friday, whereas tonight it's just like, I just want to go to bed and sleep. So if I look a little dreary-eyed, I'm okay. I'm just like slowly dying on the inside because I'm exhausted. So, but again, welcome. Thanks for coming back to the show. This is the first ever Thursday night show of the Battle Bros podcast, as opposed to what Alamo just said, which is the Battles Bros, which sounds a little bit too alliterative, and that just means it has the same repetitive sounds over and over again. So yeah, we're gonna leave that alone. So my name is Mac. This is my co-host and best friend Alamo. This is our episode 16 of the Battle Bros podcast, and Alamo's going to tell you what it's about. So take it away.
All right, my friends. This week we are delving into a very sensitive topic for a lot of people because a lot of people get into denial of it. I will say firsthand, I am very, very, very guilty of that, which is anger issues. Or just anger in general. Well, apparently.
Angry Much is the name of our show by chance.
That's right. Angry Much. Welcome to our episode 016, Angry Much. And we kind of just wanted to go over it with you guys, kind of tell you what happens with our lives, what we feel, how it affects us, and how it really can affect everyone, both in the military and civilian life. Specifically because anger can affect so many different people in so many different ways, including veterans and civilians. It doesn't really matter. Anger affects everybody, and it's just the how much too it affects, if that makes sense. I said that way wrong. Again, Thursday, folks. Not usual.
Thursday.
Yeah, it's not our normal time frame. So, you got to bear with us.
This isn't our usual spot of tea. Just by the way, just that you know. If that was terrible, please like it. Please tell us in the comment section. Yeah, Max should stop doing a British accent because it's pure straight rubbish.
Tell me, what's the angle? What's the angle? What's with the accent?
Are you talking about the angle of the dangle, mate? See, I just know it sounds like shit. It's just terrible. So I'm going to stop now.
So
yeah. So for those that caught the show last week, I'm going to help Alamo.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Because I was actually looking over the notes real quick. Go ahead, brother. Recap.
So for those of us, there's two of us. Wow, again, tired. For those of you that caught the show last week, that was episode 15, 015, which was the inferiority complex. We talk about, feelings that make you feel inferior to other people and how that manifests both mentally, both physically in your daily lives, all that kind of stuff, and some things you can do to kind of help you keep from falling into that trap. So kind of going along with our quote unquote self-help episodes, we're doing an episode on anger much, on having anger issues and, recognizing that and being able to resolve those issues if you don't necessarily go see a therapist or have somebody to go, hey man, just let you know, you're fucking up. You want to stop doing that? That'd be great. So we're going to talk about anger management issues. We're going to talk, again, the name of our episode is Angry Much. And Alamo got to start off by watching a clip from a guy named Jocko Willink, who is a motivational speaker. He's also a former Navy SEAL officer. I think he was a lieutenant commander when he got out. All around general badass and whatnot. So he got to start it off on the subject, talking about how anger can be very, very detrimental, especially in the wrong hands, like younger folks who are just kind of up to the world. So on that note, I'm going to switch it over to the guy, and he's going to take over. So,
all right. So first things first, I want to go ahead and, obviously everybody knows what the hell anger is, but I'm going to go ahead and go off the kind of definition, which is basically a strong feeling of annoyance, displeasure, or hostility. And boy, can we relate to that kind of stuff, because I think everybody feels that from time to time.
There seems to be a lot of that in the world this day and age. Just saying.
Just a tad.
Just a smidge. All right, I'm done. I'm
Yeah.
done with the British stuff. I promise. I'm sorry.
Get your head out of your ass, mate. So the first thing I kind of want to cover is, like how, like in military life, kind of like in what negative ways has anger affected you in your military life? And I know for a fact it's affected me very poorly in my military life when it came to certain things. I almost kind of like, I actually kind of want to hear what you got to say, because I want to see what you got to say, brother.
So for me, I would say that anger in the military, I can kind of think of a couple things right off the bat. It's just like, I remember my first experience feeling angry in the military when we were standing in formation at basic, and one guy said something stupid, and I forget what the comment was, but the next thing I heard was these terrible words. I got you, Pratt. Too easy. Half right. Peace. And I'm just like, like, you wanted to just have a barracks party with this poor sumbitch, and you're just like, dude, if you can't say anything nice, shut the hell up. Like, just stop talking, you moron.
Shut
You
your
freaking,
mouth.
you window licking bastard. Shut your fucking pie hole. You know? And, I would say that, anger is kind of built into the whole indoctrination process, because by becoming angry, you become motivated in a certain manner of speaking. You don't want to have to go on these long forced marches and all this crap and doing all this other junk, but at the same time, there's training value in almost everything we get told to do and what we train on. So
Indeedy doodly diddly.
Something that we talked about last week with the inferiority complex were these guys that had just crappy jobs in their civilian lives, and they would come to drill and they have a little bit of authority. They might be a team leader, a squad leader, usually E5, E6 from the experiences that I had. And they would just run their damn Joes into the damn ground just because, fuck it, I'm at drill. I can. Who's going to stop me? And I get that. And it gets filed into that whole misguided notion of, we're going to make you boys hard as woodpecker lips. No, you're just making some resentful fuckers towards you, man. Like, they're going to be like, oh, hey, so-and-so got hit. And he's all right. Do you want me to come pull your ass out of the fray, or do you want me to just be like, but Sarge, I couldn't get to you, man. So, I mean, there's that.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I really got frustrated and angry with was just piss poor leadership.
Yeah.
Period. And just guys that you're just like, how in the fuck did you ever get to the position you're at now when you suck at it?
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on that. But
yeah,
what you got, man?
Yeah, for me, like anger really kind of just affected, a lot of different things for me when I was like in the military, specifically, like when I was actually, like the first time I actually experienced anger was when I got bumped down in basic training from E3 to E2. Granted, it was just a step down. It wasn't like, that. What really upset me was that for me, it was a miscommunication. You know what I mean? And I accept responsibility that it was miscommunication on my part, specifically because I misinterpreted what the drill sergeant had told me as for, okay, get off your back and stand up, or, sit up or whatever. I was supposed to do, I guess it's the Supermans where you lay on your back and you put your legs up straight vertically. And I ended up dropping my legs because, I don't know. The hand signal looked like the drill sergeant was telling me to get up off the floor. Apparently that was not the case. And when I sat up, I thought nothing of it afterwards. And then he noticed that I sat back up, yanked me up from off the floor, and said, when we get back to the company, I'm going to write you up, blah, 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 blah. End of story. That was it. The next day I lost my E3, the anger I felt for a long time really just kind of affected how I saw things from that point. And it made me lose motivation, man. It made me lose motivation quite a bit because it was just like, dude, like, I wanted to explain myself. I tried to explain myself, and I guess it wasn't good enough. I had to be made the example of. I guess I was the example.
Oh, dude, that's happened to all of us. I had
Yeah.
you made me think of another time I was in basic and we all had like how you used to take, okay, when you had the slings on the old school slings that would go from the bottom of the buttstock to the front sling swivel on the M16A4s.
Yeah.
And you would have enough slack in the sling you would take and stand one up vertical, and then you stick the muzzles of two other ones, and they would be crossed, and you'd kind of have three of them standing there in like a tripod. You remember doing that?
Yeah, I do remember
Yeah.
that. And if it ever fell to the ground, the drill sergeant would just tear your ass up.
Yeah, but I mean, with three of them, it usually didn't do that. It was pretty stable. So
yeah,
I was on duty squad or something, and for some reason, like everybody else in my squad went and picked up their weapons. Mine was the only one still left on the floor, on the ground. They're like, roster number 340. I'm like, Joe Sergeant, reporting to Joe Sergeant. They're like, why is your weapon sitting here? And I'm just like, I honestly didn't know why I was sitting there because it was with everybody else's stuff. So like for an hour, a fucking hour, sitting here, starting off like this, doing iron mics, going, I will not leave my weapon. I will not leave my weapon. I was pretty upset at that point, boys and girls. This is when Mac had realized he done fucked up. So it was kind of one of those moments. No, but listen, I was like, why didn't somebody grab my stuff? Like,
yeah,
everybody else's things got moved, and there was me and another guy that had just come back from doing a task related to being duty squad out in the field. And I'm just like,
battle buddies fucked you.
Whatever. Did you wait? Here it comes.
Blue Falcon.
There it is. So I mean, it is what it is, man. The bigger of those things that I had mentioned was just shitty leadership. Seeing guys that I'm just like that had no business being in charge of troops, and then not having the wherewithal to understand that they weren't the biggest cock on the walk. Like you had some opportunities to grow and get better as a leader, but you're too naive and too, just stupefied at your own splendor of being a moron that you should be in charge of troops. But what do I know?
There was plenty of that too.
Whatever.
It used to irritate the hell out of me.
I
know, and it was just, and I can understand that. It's kind of like the thing of, not recognizing, like when you're not being recognized for the contributions you do bring, and you're just being recognized for the shit that you've done that is negative. And that sucks. That sucks a lot.
And that's affected me in my work life, man. It's like, dude, you and I used to work together. How many times did somebody come over to our area of the store and be like, hey, we got a customer complaint / problem / both. And we're just like, okay.
I remember.
They only ever came over there if something was wrong, something was broken, or something was fucked up, or they needed us to hook somebody up. Hey, so-and-so's coming. Can you make sure he gets this, and this, and don't charge him for nothing? These are the guys that can afford it. Why are we not charging? Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your store, your shit show. Anyway.
So, Tez with a Tez. Let's see. Now we did cover briefly talking about anger in military life, which I think is kind of it's relevant enough. But I think in particular, as veterans ourselves, where it affects us the most is as we exit. So
for sure.
In civilian life, what would you say would be the way you were affected by anger, bruh? Negative ways.
So for me, anger in my civilian life comes from a couple of things. Mind you, now I don't mean to sound like, back in my day. I'm trying to sound like Abe Simpson over here, but it really annoys the crap out of me when you have just this lack of disrespect for people and in society in general, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it could be younger kids, the older folks. You see these kids like in classes and they just end up assaulting the teacher or another student just to get likes and clicks on freaking social media, the gram, or I'm sorry, what they call it, the Insta or the TikTok, all this just dumb bullshit. It's like,
Yeah.
treat your people with respect, and just amazing how much further that gesture goes. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. Let's see what else. Let me air out all my grievances here. So civilian life, traffic, and if you know what I'm talking about, you know, traffic just pisses you off. It's so bad.
Yeah.
There's that. It's just sometimes people in general. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a psychopath or nothing, but just you look at people. And
Oh,
you're
just
like,
wait till you hear my story. But go ahead.
you just like you look at you just kind of like you. I've been around enough people to know, and I kind of read body language and read tells of things. And you're just looking like, I'm gonna go over here before I end up next to this guy over here, and it's gonna get bad. So it's kind of like that. What you got, Macho?
Well, I mean, honestly, when it comes to me, like I've noticed that I tend to have a fairly short fuse, especially as of late. I don't.
Hey, guess what? You're a human living in 2021. You're no different. So if you want a pity party, tough shit. Moving right along.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I try. I very what's I'm trying to think of the terminology. Like I usually have a lot of trouble trying to deal with my anger, and because I have a lot of times where I just kind of blow up a little, and
oh, no doubt,
it's not like but see, the issue that I have is that it ends up being very sudden, and for me, it's like I noticed
like
it ends up being a big problem. I end up really getting angry at myself, and which makes me
comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, where did that come from? And you're like, oh yeah,
exactly, yeah.
And we go back to the song I was singing earlier. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to chat with you again. And things get bad, but it's not quite so beautiful and melodic as a Simon and Garfunkel song. You're just like,
gotcha.
Thick, kind of one of those.
Yeah.
Things.
But yeah, it really sucks because like sometimes I'll end up taking that out on the kids, and you know, or the wife, and it's one of those things where when you blow up on your family, you don't. It just makes you feel like such an ass. You know what I mean?
You feel literally this small. And
yeah,
I'm holding my thumb and index finger. For those of you that aren't watching, you're listening to this show.
Exactly.
Whenever it may be live or later on. I'm holding my index finger and my thumb about a half inch apart. You literally feel that small, and you feel like you feel like a can of smashed assholes. You're just like, ugh. Yeah. I'm a shitty person, and you're just mad at yourself for getting mad in the first place. And you're just like,
exactly.
Really, just do that again? Damn it! So yeah, I was there earlier today. Guilty.
And yeah, so it's one of those things that you know, for me in my civilian life lately, you know what I mean. I really do believe that to a certain degree it actually stems from just having to deal with stuff, dealing with stresses from the military. You know what I mean? It's really what it comes down to. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where you really have to figure out a way to, which we're going to cover here in the video, or excuse me, on the show. We're going to cover that.
I think it's third bullet point.
Yeah. Yes. How has, for you, Macadocious, how has anger or how does anger manifest? Like, what are you feeling? Like, is the first thing that happens like your fist clench, or like what?
So I kind of feel like I have the like Looney Tunes symptomology. Instead of having
Yeah.
that giant forehead pulsing out of my head, that
Yeah.
giant blood vessel pulsing out of my forehead, I get like that vein in my neck that just goes like I can just feel it just sitting there, just throbbing. It's just like we are 5 minutes away from liftoff. OMG. So there's that. I kind of feel myself get a little bit sweaty at times when like I'll start to kind of break into a little bit of a flop sweat where I'm just like, oh crap, here we go. There's also the point of crap, I had it, I lost it. Oh, like sometimes I'll get dry mouth. I'll get dry mouth and like my throat will hurt a little bit. Like my body knows that something awful is going to happen and it's preparing for it. So that's definitely another symptomology as well as just as all that. But like I also I'll find myself at times having and composing my thoughts. I'm just like, you know what you don't do? You need to. Like, I look like Steve Carell out of Liar Liar.
Yeah.
I sound like a rambling idiot, so to speak.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, it could start out of nowhere. It could be traffic. It could be getting upset with somebody who's not following
Yeah.
directions. Take your pick. I mean, hey, we're all human. It's important to remind everybody that we're not picking on you. We're not trying to single you out.
Exactly.
We're just saying, hey, we got the same shit happening too.
Yeah.
Tell us about it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is like, you know, like we're doing this episode because it's so common for everybody. You know, everybody gets angry. Even the nicest person on the planet gets angry. They may not get angry as often, but everybody gets angry. Everybody deals with it. Everybody has a negative effect that comes with it. There are times when anger can be a positive thing. In fact, like it helps you get your emotions out and stuff like that. But right now we're talking about things in the negative. I know for a fact for me, when I get angry, I know when I get angry for me specifically, I end up having, you know, tightness in the shoulders. My ears get really, really hot, or at least they feel hot. I don't know if they're actually hot or not. And my face changes, and you know the looks on my face change, you know, from, you know, kind of like this, you know, kind of like just, you know, normal demeanor to like a, you know, just like what the hell, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it you know, it's unfortunate because, you know, for me, like especially lately, you know, especially after the military, it's once the anger train gets a chugging, it's really hard to stop. You know, you have to really.
Now loading the Hot Mess Express on track 9. The Hot Mess Express with all stops to rage, insanity, and insomnia. All aboard.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
I'm pretty proud of that. I came up with that literally right then and there. I was like,
on the fly, bruh. It's
I'll
really
take
cute.
that.
Really, really cool. All right. What are some triggers, man? Like, what triggers you the most?
Well, honestly, it's like I said, it just kind of depends on the social setting that I'm in. A lot of times I'll see it'll be, you know, people not giving respect to folks older than them. And that's, I know that, you know, it's just, there's a little bit of a societal shift in the normalcies of, you know, everyday life and whatnot, but that's just how I was raised. You know, it's just it's kind of like that scene from, what was it? We Were Soldiers, where Mel Gibson is playing Hal Moore, and he goes, every warrior called every warrior, when he's talking about Tecumseh, I think he goes, every warrior called every warrior older than him grandfather. He
Hey, you
called
some
every
bitches call me grandpa. I'll kill you.
That's actually pretty good. I mean, just listening to that over the headphones, I'm like, that sounds pretty good. But just the fact of like, or Crazy Horse. You talk about Crazy Horse, excuse me. When Crazy
Yeah,
Horse
he
was
was
a
talking about
baby,
Crazy
he
Horse. Yeah,
nursed from every woman in the tribe. That's how they raised their kids that way. He called every warrior older than him grandfather. And it was just
yeah,
a sign of respect. And like you look at certain societies nowadays, that's still there. Japan is very much, Japanese culture is very much a society well rooted in respect and whatnot. And
yeah,
just seeing like a lot of these videos online where like people are just losing their shit. It's like I'm gonna take a giant drink from a drive-through and shove it back in the window because I suck as a person. I'm just like, well, first off, I'm
yeah,
gonna agree that you suck as a person, but like, why are you trying to mess up somebody else's day? I don't. It's one thing if you do something to mess up your day, but why are you trying to mess up somebody else's day? You don't know what the other person's going through. You don't know them. Like,
yeah.
don't fuck it up for somebody else. But yeah,
Exactly.
triggers for me, man. It's just kind of the situation I'll be in, whether it's trying to get my daughter to finish up some schoolwork, and she's like asking me to go play, and I'm like, you need to finish this up first. And I don't mean that in a bad connotation or context or nothing like that. But traffic would probably be just one where people are just sitting there like you're not supposed to be. It's been on the books now since the beginning of this year. You're not supposed to be operating your motor vehicle while you're on your cell phone. And that's why a lot of the
Yeah.
newer cars have Bluetooth. But you'll see people still sitting there at a red light, paying attention to the phone call with Betty May back up in Kenosha, Wisconsin, instead of driving their freaking car or whatnot. And it's just like, dude, pay attention. Be safe for yourself so that we can all be safe collectively on the road. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my big one. If I have the hiccups, I'm sorry. Excuse me, they came out of nowhere.
No
But
worries.
yeah, I
That's just
mean,
what's on here.
that's kind of that's where the trigger for me is. It's just something. It just like, and I'll like it's like in a cartoon show. Make get that little like when it triggers, it just kind of you get like that eye twitch. You're just like,
Yeah. I've noticed that for me, one of my main, and I mean like main triggers is just feeling like I'm not being listened to. I cannot stand that. I cannot stand.
Can you repeat that sentiment at the end of the show when we're trying to get more followers? I think that would be an excellent tie-in, by the way.
You-
Nobody's listening to me. Please listen to the show. That would be wonderful. Doggone it, people like us.
Yeah. Yeah, feeling like I'm not being listened to, things like or just feeling like my contributions aren't being recognized.
I got
That's
another good one.
yeah.
Seeing a young person who probably doesn't have anything wrong with them using the motorized scooters in a store that are meant for the people that have a legitimate disability. That
Actual
pisses me
disabilities.
off.
Yeah.
Oh. Now, obviously, you can't say because of HIPAA, you can't ask somebody and talk all that kind of junk, but you're just like, if I see you get out of your car and go playing skip to Maloo up to your vehicle, I'm going to run your ass over and make an honest person out of you.
Yeah.
So, by the way, that's just a figure of speech or an idiom, as they say. I'm not really going to run somebody over. It's just I'm expressing a thought, darn it. So, there we go.
Yeah. So that brings us to some calming techniques.
In the bag, I got this. So easiest way for calming techniques is I've actually learned something working around kids and working around different schools. It's funny how many things you learn in life are some type of mnemonic device. And if you're not familiar with what a mnemonic device is, it's something used to help you remember something else. Like, something that my daughter learned when she was doing social studies were the four primary or cardinal directions on a map. So if you start at the map, it's north, east, south, and west. And the way they remember that is never eat soggy waffles. And I'm just like, okay, that's definitely a good one. But like you also have something like the colors of the rainbow, Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, blue, indigo, violet. You have all kinds of other things there. There's a song that we learned about the 10 terrain features. First Sergeant Jaeger was always like, all right, let's hear the song. Hill, ridge, valley, saddle, depression, draw, spur, cliff, cut, fill. Yeah, all 10 terrain features on military. 5 primary, 3 secondary, 2 alternate. And it's just stuff that I'm never going to forget now. But anyway, mnemonic devices like that. One of the ones that I've heard from way back when, and this is from a preschool that I used to see a client in, was they use for the kids. They have a song that they sing. I don't remember how the song goes, but the main part of the song is star, stop, take a deep breath, and relax.
Yeah,
and it works.
I remember. I remember you talking about that one a couple episodes back.
And I'll just sit there and I'll be like, okay, this is really ridiculous, but let's try it. And you try, and it's like, okay, and just with like anything else, practice makes perfect. Just keep going. It becomes second nature. You go with it. So it's all good. Calming techniques. Some other things that I do if I know I've had a stressful or angry day, I get online to like YouTube or social media. Now, before I say this, let's just supposed to like, you mean get on TikTok? That's not what I said. Let's just take a step back and just calm your shit down. I get online.
TikTok, they work for China. They would.
You'd be great if you could just stay in a freaking character. What I do to kind of cope. Are you okay there, Mister? I'm gonna cough up a lung.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. You're good at something.
Anyway,
something I do is kind of like a calming technique or a coping mechanism. Is I get online and I just watch stuff about things that I'm interested in. Like I've got several dozen channels on YouTube where the content creators come out with new stuff every so often. I'll get on there. I'll try to find something funny and laugh, or I'll just find something to distract myself. If I get angry, I'll try to focus on something like, cleaning your guns, cleaning your firearm, cleaning, I'll sit there, I'll field strip my pistol apart and I will go through it all very meticulously. And it gives me something to focus on where it's like, it's not something like I'm trying to do advanced calculus or quantum physics, but it's something that it will give me enough focus to where I am zoned in on that. The white noise in the back of my head is just kind of gone away and whatnot. And I'll just sit there and I'll focus on that. So that's something that helps me quite a bit. But yeah, how about yourself there, my man?
Honestly, for me, when I'm able to actually really do good at it, the first thing I think of is just, what is it going to benefit me? Like really, like if I blow up right now, how is it benefiting me right now? That's the first question I ask myself, which, funny enough, I think, in the Mayo Clinic article that I pulled up, it says, number one it has, I think, 10 tips basically for taming your anger. It says, number one, think before you speak, which I think is a good way of just saying, like, what I just said, which is, what is the benefit to me? What am I, in what way, shape, or form is like me blowing up right now going to benefit or help anybody in the situation that we're in right now? Because one thing I've noticed very, very keenly, and I've observed this, is that when you allow your anger to rule you, you allow your anger to ruin your relationships, and not just your relationships. You allow your anger to kind of ruin your relationships with your coworkers, your managers, all types of good stuff like that. And
what movie was it in? It's like, it's not a relationship, it's a relationship.
Yeah, I think that might have been Dane Cook. I think you're right. It might have been Dane Cook in one of his specials. It's funny though, because Mayo Clinic actually, they actually go on from there. They say also, number two, once you're calm, express what you're angry about. So essentially, stop, pause, What does it benefit me? Oh, yeah, here's why I'm upset. You know what I mean? Um, another one, funny enough, and it's something that I do constantly, or at least usually, like I haven't been very good at it lately. But it's exercise. What do you
Yeah.
know? Exercise, and that's the thing is like exercise is very good at helping you. Um, and for me specifically, is very good at getting you to get your rage out in a constructive way that helps benefit you in a way that you're not taking your anger out on the people or the thing or whatever. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've caused damage with my anger. I've put holes in walls, put holes through doors,
Sure.
which I mean that doesn't benefit anyone, let alone yourself. I mean, mm,
So
hand damage.
let me ask you this, man. So you brought up a good point earlier, which I thought was kind of, very apropos. You talked about how anger can be used in a good context. So
Right.
how would you describe that? And I think I want to go and explain my end of that. So like for
Yeah, go
me,
ahead.
we've got our 10K coming up, and I have a playlist that I listen to all the time. It's called Rage Monster, but it's Monster because it's like the big green monster up at Fenway Pack kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
So, but it's all angry-ish music stuff that's got a very heavy bass beat or very just solid punchy intros. Like there's a song that I started listening to from Shinedown called Monsters, and it's just really good. I use angry music when I'm working out just to kind of increase the intensity of it. Like if I'm going for a
Yeah.
ruck or whatnot, just kind of get me in that rhythm of in that not the rhythm, but in kind of like the mindset of going. This is gonna suck a little bit. It's gonna hurt, but you know what? I'm gonna be okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
pushing myself to do something I don't normally do on a regular. So let's get after it, kind of thing. So, what would you add
Yeah.
to that?
I would say that anger, for or at least when it benefits me positively, I would say it's very, very similar. Like I get a much better push and a much better
Pump.
pump, in the weight room. Whenever whenever I focus that anger into my workout, instead of kicking someone else's ass, I kick my own. Which I mean, obviously, with the endorphins flowing through your body and everything else, it helps, your muscle build a lot better, a lot faster as well.
And would you
Uh,
not say that that's probably a very constructive and healthy way? Because afterwards, you just feel like, yes, I got rid of all that negative stress. I got rid of all that anger and frustration. And I feel like I'm sucking wind here. I'm hurting. I'm sore as shit. I fucking feel like I got ran over by a freaking garbage truck, but I
yeah,
feel better. Would that not
yeah,
be a
yeah.
safe assessment to that?
Absolutely, there, pal. Um,
I don't know if we're ready to introduce these guys yet, there, pal. So let's just keep them on the back
oh,
burner
10-4,
under
yeah,
the
we'll keep them on the back burner.
behind the velvet curtain, if you know what I mean, there, pal.
The velvet curtain.
Absolutely.
10-4.
So yeah,
So yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, it's really I think in that sense, anger can be very, very positive in it, or it can influence you in a very positive way
sure.
in that aspect.
And I
Um,
do want to apologize for kind of answering several bullet points at one shot there. So
nah,
calming
no worries.
techniques, and then feel ourselves getting angry. What do we do?
Yeah,
If I can, that last bullet point, what are things we can do when we feel ourselves getting too angry? I try to just up ass out of the situation. Like if I feel myself talking to somebody, it's not going anywhere. If I'm able to, I'm just gonna be like, okay, you know what? That's great. We can disagree, agree to disagree, and I'm just gonna go over this way. So
yeah,
that's
yeah,
one of the ways I do it. Just as a preventative maintenance kind of thing. Like I said, I go on the internet and I try to watch goofy shit like old school reruns of like Saturday Night Live. I've got all 11 seasons of MASH on Hulu that I'll watch. And I'm sorry, but that stuff is still funny 40 years later. Like, come at me, bro. Fight me. I got your ass. You're not going to change my opinion. But like stuff like that. It's just like old school comedy. Like some of the stuff nowadays, comedians are good of their own right, but just the comedy, especially like back in the 90s, you could get away saying a lot of shit that today would probably get you know, canceled. And I'm not trying to get into that whole political
Yeah. We'll stay away.
But,
We'll stay away from that one for now.
But yeah, just something fun, dude. Like just watching all that stuff and just sitting there and just laughing your ass off to the point like your face hurts and your cheeks are sore and you're just literally sitting there like, I'm not really crying. Fuck, I'm crying. Oh my god, that was hilarious. I could watch that 14 more times. Like there's funny videos like that come up like on Facebook or I'm sure on TikTok and Instagram or whatnot. I'm not knocking those, but like I just try to watch those, just remember, life is short, you gotta laugh it up,
Yeah.
That's all you really can do. So what were you gonna add to that, bro?
No, I just get myself out of the situation. I either leave the house, I'll go, which usually I'll leave. It's nothing against the people that are there. It's nothing against the person I'm angry at or the situation I'm angry at, but I have to get myself out of the situation to avoid exacerbating the what is already a bad situation.
Right.
So I get myself out of there because I know me, and with having the short fuse that I have, it would not be beneficial to any party there, let alone the situation at hand, for me to be anywhere near it at that point in time. So I just try to get out of there. I'll go shopping for something. Sometimes I'll buy useless shit. I mean, it just happens. There's times where I'll go on a bike ride, go on a walk. I have to do something to occupy my brain and calm down, get those. I got to get my blood flow going somewhere else to prevent me from doing something else. Does that make sense?
Sure. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's funny too, because like this Mayo Clinic article is actually saying a lot of stuff in here that's actually very, very useful. And they mentioned use humor to relieve the tension. That's something you covered. Also, don't hold a grudge. And I'm going to tell you right now, not holding a grudge is incredibly difficult for me. But if you can master not holding it against the individual or whatever, if say for example your focus of anger is a person, if you can avoid holding that person a little too accountable, I guess is a good way of saying it, and holding that grudge against them, because number one thing, I mean, it's a cliche freaking statement, but forgiveness isn't for them, it's for you. It prevents you from going just bonkers out of your freaking mind. So you gotta be able to let things go. You know what I mean? You have to.
And it's funny you talk about using, getting rid of the anger by just using that irreverent humor and laughing at it. And like I saw another ad today for Veteran TV, which is put on by a guy named Donnie O'Malley. It's a TV production show channel, and they put out all these different shows that are all about the global war on terrorism veteran perspective, and they're just raunchy as all get out from what I've seen of clips so far. But it's just that humor where it's like that dark humor where you just feel like, I really shouldn't laugh at this, but fuck, it's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to feel bad about it. Or just other humor in general. Like I saw today popped up on, I think it was on Facebook because I don't have TikTok or Insta or any of that crap. But it was talking about, it was from Comedy Central's page, and it was I think it's been like 20 years since Key and Peele had their show, and they did the substitute. My name's Mr. Garvey. I taught the inner school for 20 years, so don't mess with me. I'm gonna call some roll.
Hey, Ron.
Jake Quillen.
Jake Quillen.
Okay. I got my eye on you, Jake Quillen.
Balake.
Nice. Balake. Hey, Ron. And then finally gets to the end. He's like, Timothy. And he goes, present. He's like, thank you. I mean, that joke.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such gold. I mean, it is so. It'll be funny 20 years from now because we'll be looking at it going, dude, Balake.
Timothy.
Aaron and Jake Quillen. D-Nice. Come on, man.
Yeah.
This was like that's how I watch a lot of just goofy stuff.
Yeah.
There's another.
I mean, sometimes the goofy shit is just the funniest stuff.
Yeah.
It gets your mood higher quicker, you know?
Yeah, because you start laughing and next thing you know you're giggling like an idiot. So it's just great.
Yeah.
Or even other stuff too. Like there's a guy. For those of you that are in like the firearms world or into firearms training, there's a guy named Pat McNamara. He goes by the moniker Pat Mac, and he has the
Basic
series
dude stuff.
Basic dude stuff. Like you want to watch some stuff, and like it's great because he's just talking about little things that all guys should know. You know how to garden, how to pencil sketch, and all this great stuff. And it's just like, God, I feel like such a terrible guy for not knowing basic dude shit. But it's just simple little hacks about this, that, and the other, And it's just like, duh. And you can learn some shit from it too. So not only is it entertaining, it's educational. So, boom, boom.
One of the final points this Mayo Clinic article actually makes is no one to get help. That's
where have we heard that before?
Wow.
Mind blow.
Yar. Yeah, man. No, you gotta know when it's time to actually seek out a team. And that's one thing we stress here, man, is like you don't wanna alienate yourself from everyone around you because you can't get your anger you can't get yourself under control. That's really what anger is. It's the inability to identify or even recognize that you're having a problem.
Yep.
Especially when it's and we're not talking about the normal healthy anger type stuff. We're talking about the overt anger, like the anger that has no place in your life. Whatchamajig, blah 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 blah. What was I saying?
You were talking about the last point on the Mayo Clinic.
Oh yeah. No, yeah. Well, I was also referring back to something that I was looking at that I had looked up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you have to look for help when you need it. You have to be big enough and strong enough because as Jocko said in the beginning of the podcast or in the beginning of the show in the clip that we played, it's not weak to know when you're messing up. It's weak to know when you're messing up and you're not fixing it. And there's something about the way that man says things that you
smart
cannot,
guy.
Yeah, you cannot disagree with him. There's no way in hell you can hear what he's saying.
You can't not listen. I mean,
you can't. Yeah, exactly. And that's really why we wanted to talk about anger. It's kind of a common thing amongst literally everybody. And if we have any, when we have people that listen to the show, I mean, we have people. I've noticed the demographics kind of fluctuating. We have people that are military and we have people that are civilian listening to the show. And hey, anger affects all of us, man.
Oh, it sure does. Absolutely. I mean, it's a human emotion.
Yeah, that's one thing that we have to recognize, is that it's normal to deal with it, and we have to recognize it as something that if we look for help, can be there can be a solution to the problem. You know what I mean?
Break the stigma.
Exactly. And one thing I don't know if anybody noticed it, whenever I made the post for the show on the social medias, I, funnily enough, put up I actually placed a Bible verse on the on that picture that I created, which was Ecclesiastes 7:9, which honestly, I mean, I know, again, not everybody that listens to the show is going to be, a person of faith or anybody that's religious. However, I don't think that there's a more truthful statement than the verse that I'm about to read to you right now, which is, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools." And that's basically to say that, it's anger is a road you don't want to really, or at least being overtly angry is not a road you want to go down, because it can lead to many things that you don't want to put yourself in, like many situations that you don't want to put yourself into. Everything from breaking relationships to losing a job, alienating yourself from literally everyone around you. Like I said earlier, there's an amalgam of different things that can occur when you allow anger to rule your life. And what we're talking about is when you allow anger to rule your life. And that's pretty much what we have for it. We wanted to cover it because it's an important topic, and it's an important topic that a lot of guys feel like is not very important. There's a lot of guys that feel like, because oh, I'm just angry. Well, no, everybody gets angry, but there is a way that we get angry that we need to recognize as more of the negative. And that's what we wanted to talk about on the show. That's why we wanted to cover it, because it's important to kind of get that out there, and it's important to recognize it, because if we don't recognize it, we don't fix it. And the whole point of our show is to help each other fix that problem and to get over it.
Yeah, we're here to help others, especially we're here to build a community, but we're here to help others inside of that budding community to understand that, hey, man, they're not alone. We go through all the stuff that we talk about. At least one of the two of us has gone through what we're talking about during the course of that episode, that show topic. So, we don't ever want to come off as being, the person up on the soapbox, spreading their news or their message to be the word when we haven't gone through stuff. That's just arrogant, and it's foolish. We're going to talk about stuff that we've been through so we can hopefully relate. We want to remain humble, because we're not perfect ourselves. We're just two guys that have been had friends for 20 years. We're not perfect. We stumble every single day, but you know what? We get up, we show up, and we try out. And that's the big thing. So, you ready to close this thing out there, bucko?
Let's do it, brother. On
all
you.
Right, so hopefully, I was thinking, Alamo, when we do put the video up on YouTube, you might want to put the links for those articles up in the description, like for the Mayo Clinic article.
I am going to do that.
My dude. So, kind of circling the wagons back around to what we were talking about. There's a lot of things that happen in life that can just get you off your game and whatnot. So, as we developed the show, we came up with this mantra of things to remember, to kind of just keep yourself on that even keel and keep yourself grounded and keep yourself to the point of being able to get through another day to fight to the next day and to the next day. And we call it the Battle Bros Code. And it's easy to remember because all you have to remember are the letters BROS. Each one of those is a tenet principle of the Battle Bros Code. B.
The Battle Bros Code.
I don't
You
know
said
why
it,
he
not
said
me.
I know. All right, back on track. So, as I said, be tenacious. Get out there and do the absolute best you can do. If you want to be someone who learns how to ride a motorcycle, somebody who becomes a cop late in life, go out there and do the best you can do, whether it's being a parent, whether it's being a member of the armed services, whether it's being a high school student. Go out there and go crush that shit. Don't sit there and coast in the middle of the pack. Do the best you can. My lovely daughter, she says, "Daddy, I want to be a veterinarian." I'm like, "Awesome." I said, "You got to start working hard now because you're going to go back and look at all your grades from this far back. And if you don't go out there and crush it, they might pass you over and you might not have an easy time as you think get into it. But get out there, give it 100%. I'm not going to tell you to give 110% because it's physically impossible. Have one idiot that's going to have some naysaying shit to say. But get out there and give it your all. Give it your best, okay? And that's all Be Tenacious is. R, refuse to surrender. You may come across times where you don't hit the mark, you don't hit the X, you don't hit the OBJ, the objective. Okay, you fall short. You might sail over it because you caught a thermal parachuting into the AO and it takes you farther away. Shit happens, man. The biggest thing that you can remember is that you continue to strive to do your best. Don't ever quit. Don't ever give up. All right. Keep working for that objective. Okay. No matter what. Okay. There's going to be things that get you sideways, get you twisted. Don't give up. That's all there is to it.
You're mine.
O, obliterate your obstacles. There are going to be ways, there are going to be things, and there are going to be happenings that keep you from hitting that X, okay? Don't let them stand. Obliterate that shit. Knock the wall down. Ram it through with a striker. Ram it through with a car. Blow that bitch up with some C4. Whatever you got to do, okay? Sometimes it's just as easy as stepping around the obstacle to get to the other side. Sometimes it happens, okay? Don't ever let something stand in your way of accomplishing something, especially something that's worthwhile. Being a good parent to your kids. That's a lofty goal. That's a goal that every parent should hopefully seek for, or seek
boy.
out to achieve. Don't let things get in your way. Do the best job you can and obliterate your obstacles. Okay, and that's kind of why we have all three of those. Kind of all interconnected. There's a reason we thought about what this mantra was going to be for quite a while before we settle on what it is. Okay. The last one is S. Seek out a friend in time of need. Okay. There are times when those first three tenets of being tenacious, refusing to surrender, and obliterate your obstacles don't always go as planned. And you might find yourself face down in the dirt, rocks kicked up over you. It happens. Okay. If you need help, call somebody, seek out a friend. I know anytime I need it, I can call this guy right over here. I'm not touching your tip. I can call him and we can just be like, "Hey, man, I got an issue. I need help." Okay. There's been other times I've had friends call me in the middle of the night, like, "I'm glad you called because I'm not doing too good and I need somebody to talk to." Life is short. Okay. We only have so much time that we get to spend with our friends. We have a finite defined amount of time we get with any one person. Okay. And we never know when that is going to be the last time we see them. Be careful out there and make sure that your friends are taken care of and that they can take care of you. Okay. If something happens, if you need somebody to reach out to, call somebody up. If nobody picks up, call somebody else. Somebody will pick up. Okay. Somebody will. If you get to that point where somebody doesn't pick up, there's resources out there. We have the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. The telephone number is 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And I believe you get on there and you press 1. Okay. You deserve to be around like anybody else. We all deserve to be here. And what's great is we all have a different, unique, but equally compelling story to tell. Okay. Tell your story. Make sure you're here to tell that story to your relatives, to your friends, to your battle. Okay. Relive the heydays and stuff. One of my biggest pet peeves, I got to find out how I want to say this without getting emotional. One of my biggest things is the epidemic right now of veterans committing suicide. And that's why I wear this bracelet. It's 22 a day, because this is on average, this is the amount of veterans that commit suicide every day. Okay. 1 is way too damn many, much less 22. Okay. And it gets to the point where it stings. And part of the reason that we started this show was that one of those 22 on one day was some guy that we knew. And we're just like, damn, that sucks. So every time you see that number, there's 22 families, 22 groups of friends that are out there that are just like, fuck, and we want to stop that. We don't want you to find a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Okay. There are ways to accomplish things that need to be accomplished. There are ways to get things done. Okay. No matter what, reach out. And again, as we said, we're here to build a community. We want to foster an environment and an atmosphere of understanding, acceptance, and just total assistance. There's plenty of times you go through life alone, but you know what? This doesn't have to be one of those times. Okay. So if you can remember those 4 tenets: be tenacious, refuse to surrender, obliterate your obstacles, and seek out a friend in time of need. You know what? If you get to the end of the day and you wake up the next day, things are going pretty fucking good. You got too much to worry about. Everything else is kind of secondary. We'll figure it out together. Anyway, so was that it there, Macho?
Lastly, you can catch us on the social medias.
Thank you.
You can catch us over on the Facebook at facebook.com/battlebros.podcast. You can also catch us over on the Insta at BattlePros_podcast. You can also catch us on all the media on all the audio platforms. You can catch us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, which is our main platform, by the way, where we put out most of our content.
Shout out to the people at Anchor for giving other folks like us the opportunity to go out and spread their message and do something positive in the world we live in. So to the folks at Anchor, thank you so much. Like we started doing this podcast. We're like, how we want to do a podcast? Well, it can't be that hard. I mean, shit, they sent a monkey to the moon.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about a podcast, but it's relatively simple process. There's little things you have to know here and there, subtle nuances here and there, but at the same time, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool that you can use to get your message out there. So again, to the folks at Anchor, thank you so much for making this happen. You have never met either one of us directly, but it's awesome to have a way that somebody can feel to get out there and feel like they can pass their message along and get that sense of urgency out there and build a community up around what their message is. So again, thank you so much.
Yeah. Other than that, though, we got nothing else. Once again, y'all, thank you for joining us on the show. Thank you for joining us for this latest episode, Angry Much. And we just want to say that we love you guys. Thank you for always showing up, and thank you for listening to us. Lastly, this has been Alamo
and Mac from the Battle Bros podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on a Thursday night. I know it's kind of weird because we're both dog ass tired, but we said, what, we're still gonna put on a show, so fuck it, we'll do it live. But wait, we always do it live. So next week, we're going to be back to our normal time, hopefully Friday nights at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. Please check us out if you haven't been here before. If you have, please come on back. We'd love to and welcome you just the way that we welcome the new people. So again, thank you so much for listening to our show, and we will catch you on the flip side.
Battle Bros out.
Y'all see y'all later.